Most older men have no idea that when a woman is flirting with you, she's not just making small talk. She's actually running you through a subtle test, a quiet little interview disguised as harmless conversation. And here's the kicker, there are exactly 5 questions she'll ask when she's interested. Now, if you don't recognize these questions for what they are, you'll answer them like they're ordinary chit-chat. You'll miss the hidden meaning behind her words, and the opportunity will vanish before you even realize it was there. But if you do recognize them, if you know the psychology behind each one, if you respond like a confident man with a vibrant life and a clear sense of who you are, then what begins as casual banter can flip, almost instantly, into attraction, intimacy, and real connection. In this video, I'm going to expose this secret code. I'll explain exactly why she's asking each question, how women use these subtle cues to measure your potential, and I'll give you practical response strategies that turn a harmless chat into a doorway to romance. And I want you to pay close attention, because the final question, question number 5, will fundamentally change the way you view every single interaction from this day forward. It's the difference between being seen as a nice man she chats with politely, and being seen as a man she wants to lean in toward, a man she wants to explore deeper connection with. Don't miss it. Here's what almost nobody talks about: love, passion, connection. They don't just fade away after 60. In fact, research shows that a significant number of men and women over 60 are actively seeking companionship, romance, even adventure. The interest is there. The spark is there. But here's the problem: many of us men, after decades of marriage, careers, or just being out of the game, have forgotten how the art of flirting actually works. We assume flirting is for the young, for 20-somethings at a bar, for college students at a party. But let me tell you, women over 60 are some of the most strategic, intentional, and sophisticated flirts you will ever meet. Why? Because they've lived. They've learned. They've experienced relationships, both good and bad, and now they know what to look for. They're not wasting time on guesswork. They use conversation like a radar, testing, probing, subtly evaluating whether you're a man worth investing her energy into. And here's where most men make the mistake. They hear her words on the surface but miss the signal underneath. A question that sounds like simple small talk is actually a carefully designed filter. She's not just asking about retirement, or food, or travel. She's asking, do you have purpose? Do you have stability? Do you bring energy into your life? Can I imagine a future with you without me becoming your caretaker? When you miss those signals, she loses interest, fast. But when you catch them, when you understand what's really being asked, you can respond with clarity, confidence, and even playfulness. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what flips the script from casual chat to romantic spark. So here's what we're going to do. Today I'm going to walk you through the 5 questions almost every woman over 60 will ask if she's flirting with you. I'll break down exactly what she's testing, the psychology behind it, the mistakes most men make, and the strategies you can use to stand out. These aren't pick-up lines. This isn't about playing games. This is about rediscovering the subtle art of connection, about showing up as the best version of yourself, and about remembering that romance doesn't belong only to the young. So whether you've been widowed, divorced, or simply out of the dating scene for a while, I want you to listen closely. Because when you master these 5 questions, you'll not only recognize when a woman is flirting with you, but you'll also know exactly how to respond in a way that opens the door to companionship, chemistry, and real love again. Let's dive in. On the surface, it seems innocent. A light, friendly question. Something anyone might ask to keep the conversation flowing. But in reality, this is one of the most powerful tests a woman over 60 will use when she's flirting with you. Because she's not simply asking about your daily routine. She is quietly measuring three very specific things: your financial stability and security. Whether we like it or not, finances play a massive role in relationships at this stage of life. A woman who's spent decades raising kids, working, or managing a household isn't looking to become someone's financial caregiver. She's asking herself, does this man seem like he's managed his life responsibly? Has he built something stable? Can I relax around him knowing he's not secretly drowning in stress, debt, or dependence? Your emotional attitude toward aging and purpose. Retirement can be a fresh chapter of growth and freedom, or a slow drift into boredom and bitterness. When she asks if you're enjoying retirement, she's really asking, have you embraced this season of life with energy? Or have you given up on yourself? Whether your life is still active and fulfilling. Women are drawn to men who have a sense of mission, curiosity, and activity. A man who wakes up excited about something is magnetic. A man who wakes up with nothing to do, and expects her to fill the void, is draining. How a weak answer fails. Imagine this. She leans in, makes eye contact, and casually asks, "So, are you enjoying retirement?" And you shrug. You sigh. You mutter, "Oh, it's okay, I guess, just relaxing, not doing much these days." What just happened? In a single sentence, you communicated stagnation, boredom, lack of energy, lack of direction. Whether you realize it or not, you told her, "I'm not living, I'm waiting." And here's the brutal truth, in her mind, that's a red flag. It tells her that you may expect her to bring the spark, to do the heavy lifting, to provide meaning and excitement. And that's not attractive. This is why so many conversations die right after this question. She smiles politely, nods, and excuses herself. How a strong answer wins. Now picture the opposite. She asks the exact same question, but instead of deflating, your eyes light up. You sit up straighter. You let a smile come across your face, and you say something like, the passion approach. "You know, I thought I'd be bored, but I've never been busier. I just joined a local woodworking class, started mentoring some young guys who are trying to get into the trade, and I'm finally converting my barn into a workshop. Honestly, I feel like I'm rediscovering a whole new side of myself." What did you just signal? That you're financially stable enough to pursue hobbies. That you have purpose. That you're curious, creative, and passionate. That your life is already full, and you're inviting her into that fullness, not asking her to rescue you from emptiness, the mystery approach. Retirement's been a wild chapter. I've been working on something new that's pulling me forward, but enough about me. I want to hear your story. Do you see retirement as freedom, or as just the next stage of conquering? Now, this does two things brilliantly. You drop a teaser, something intriguing that she'll naturally want to know more about. You create curiosity. You immediately pivot the conversation back to her, which is one of the most attractive moves a man can make. It shows confidence. You're not desperate to impress, you're inviting her into dialogue. The engagement pivot. Another powerful option is to keep your answer short, positive, and then throw the ball back in her court. I've found retirement surprisingly energizing. I get to focus on what I love. What about you? How are you embracing this season of life? This shifts the spotlight and signals that you're as interested in her world as you are in telling your own story. The body language signal. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Watch her body language when she asks this. If she leans in. If she maintains eye contact. If she smiles and waits for your answer. If she follows up with 2 or 3 specific questions about what you said. That's not idle curiosity. That's flirting. That's her way of saying, convince me that you're still vibrant. Show me you're alive. Prove to me that you're a man with energy, purpose, and joy, a man I can imagine spending time with. Real-life contrast. I once saw this play out in real life at a community gathering. A kind woman named Sophia asked Carl, a widower, "So, how's retirement treating you?" Carl sighed. "Oh, it's all right, I guess. Got lots of time on my hands now. Not much to do." The conversation died instantly. Sophia smiled politely, looked down at her cup, and soon drifted away. Now compare that to David, who got the same question at a coffee shop. He smiled and said, "You know, I thought I'd be bored, but I've never been busier. I'm learning the ukulele, started a mentorship program for young entrepreneurs, and I'm converting my barn into a creative workshop. Honestly, I feel like a teenager again." And then he added, with a twinkle, "The psychology behind the test. Many older women have spent decades cooking for families, spouses, and children. For some, the idea of entering a new relationship where she becomes the automatic cook and caretaker feels suffocating. By asking if you cook, she's gauging, will this man add to my life, or drain me? Will he bring comfort and joy, or expect me to serve him? Can he share the little moments, not just the big ones?" Answering well shows her you're capable, alive, and ready to share life, not outsource it. Body language cues to watch for. She tilts her head slightly, smiling, curious if you'll show competence or helplessness. If she's genuinely interested, she'll lick her lips subtly, or raise her eyebrows when you mention food. She might laugh softly, giving you a chance to be playful back. The takeaway. When she asks, "Do you cook for yourself?" she isn't only asking about dinner. She's asking if you're still engaged with life, if you're fun, independent, and capable of creating comfort and intimacy. A weak answer kills attraction. A strong one can spark flirtation instantly, because food is a language of care, pleasure, and memory. High voltage sign. Here's the secret, it's not about being a chef. It's about being a man who shows he can nourish himself, and potentially, here on the surface, it looks like casual curiosity, a polite way of making conversation. But in reality, this is one of the most revealing flirtation tests women use. She's not just asking about vacations or hobbies. She's asking whether you're still alive in spirit. What she's really testing. Passion and energy for life, you still living, or just existing? Purpose beyond the past, do you have interests that keep you vibrant, or did life shrink after work and family duties ended? Adventure and curiosity, you curious enough to explore, try new things, and share experiences? A man who keeps moving forward is magnetic. Compatibility for shared joy, if she imagines dating you. She wants to know, will we sit at home in silence, or will we laugh, play, and discover together? How a weak answer fails. I don't go anywhere much now, prefer staying home. To her ears, this signals withdrawal from life. It sounds like fatigue, boredom, and possibly depression. It suggests you might be passive, hard to motivate, or uninterested in building memories together. In other words, you become the opposite of attraction, a project to be rescued. Even if you truly prefer home life, there are richer ways to say it. Never leave her with the impression that your world has gone dark. How a strong answer wins. White heavy check mark the adventure frame. I just got back from exploring a region I've always wanted to see. I'm no backpacker, but I love picking one place a year that excites me, whether it's a historic town, cultural festival, or even just a weekend in the mountains. Life feels fresher when you're planning the next adventure. Why this works: you show initiative, zest, and curiosity. You don't need to scale Everest to sound alive, even smaller adventures show how you're a man of movement. White heavy check mark the creative frame. Travel when I can, yes, but honestly, I've found fun right here at home. I'm part of a photography group, I dabble in writing short stories, and I've taken up hiking trails nearby. I think adventure isn't always about planes. It's about doing things that keep your spirit awake. Why this works: you broaden her idea of fun. You show that you don't need extravagance to live richly. This communicates depth, creativity, and vitality. White heavy check mark the playful frame, with flirtation built in. I try to keep life fun. I've been learning salsa. Not sure if my feet are fully cooperating yet, but I laugh a lot doing it. I think joy's the real currency, don't you? Why this works: you weave in humor and light-heartedness. Plus, mentioning dancing plants the seed of physical closeness in her mind. The pivot: invite her into the story. After sharing your own vibrant answer, flip it to her. But tell me, what's an adventure or place that still excites you these days? This isn't small talk. It gives her permission to open up about her dreams, passions, or even fantasies. Suddenly, she's not just asking you questions, she's imagining experiences with you. Signals she's flirting with this question. She leans forward when you talk about your travels, showing genuine curiosity. She lights up, adding details: I've always wanted to see Italy, or that reminds me of when I went to Paris. She teases you: photography, really? Maybe I'll have to be your model someday. She imagines us: wouldn't it be fun to take a road trip together someday? That shift, from you to we, is her way of testing how you'll respond to the idea of shared adventure. The psychology behind the test. By asking about travel and fun, she's really asking: is this man still curious? Will he bring excitement into my life, or will he drain it? Does he have the energy to enjoy love, or is he already winding down? Remember, many women over 50, 60, or 70 are fiercely protective of their energy. They are not looking to be caregivers. They are looking for a partner who makes life lighter, brighter, and more playful. Body language cues to watch for. If she touches her face or plays with her hair while asking, it's a strong flirtation signal. If she smiles wider when you talk about fun activities, she's aligning herself with your energy. If she shares her bucket list or hobbies enthusiastically, it's a clear sign she's inviting connection. The takeaway: when she asks, Do you still travel? What do you do for fun? She isn't just curious about hobbies. She's scanning for vitality, optimism, and a sense of adventure. She wants to know, do you make life feel bigger or smaller? Answer with stories, energy, and humor, and then pivot back to her. Show her you're alive, curious, and open. That's how ordinary small talk transforms into extraordinary attraction. High voltage sign secret insight: women don't fall for men because they've been everywhere or done everything. They fall for men who make every moment, whether it's Rome or a walk around the block, feel like an adventure. This is one of the most deceptively powerful questions a woman will ask when flirting. On the surface, it sounds casual, almost like she's just curious about your schedule. But beneath it lies some of the deepest tests of your character. She isn't just asking about your calendar. She's asking about your emotional ecosystem. What she's really testing: emotional availability. Do you nurture relationships, or are you closed off and emotionally distant? Relationship patterns: you warm and connected, or do you tend to burn bridges and isolate yourself? Roots and stability: do you have a life that feels anchored through family, friendships, community, or are you floating, adrift, hard to place? Time and energy balance: is your life full but flexible? Structured but not suffocating? Or does it sound like a void she'd be expected to fill? Compatibility for partnership: she's imagining, if we get closer, will I be stepping into a healthy rhythm, or into chaos and loneliness? How a weak answer fails: I don't see them much. I don't get many visitors. At first glance, this might seem honest. But what she hears is disconnection, emotional walls, and a lack of support. It raises red flags. Does he have unresolved family issues? Is he hard to get close to? Will I end up being his entire world, with all the pressure that comes with it? Another weak version is the bitter answer: my kids never call. People are too busy for me. This can sound resentful, and it places you in the role of victim. That's the opposite of attractive energy. Remember, she's drawn to men who radiate life, not men who radiate wounds. How a strong answer wins. White heavy check mark: the connected frame. I make time with my kids weekly, even if it's just dinner or a video call. I've also been mentoring a few young people through a local program. My week tends to be busy but balanced. I carve out time for family, social activities, and a little quiet space too. What about you? What does your week look like? Why this works: you show warmth, commitment, and healthy boundaries. You're busy, but not unavailable. You're family-oriented, but not dependent. White heavy check mark: the independent but engaged frame. My family's spread out, so I don't see them as much as I'd like. But I make it a point to stay connected with calls and visits. Day to day, I keep a mix. I meet friends for coffee, play tennis twice a week, volunteer at the library. Life feels best when it's a mix of structure and spontaneity. How do you keep balance in your week? Why this works: you acknowledge reality, distance, limits, without sounding isolated. You paint yourself as a man who creates meaningful connection wherever you are. White heavy check mark: the playful flirt frame. My week? Let's see: some time with family, some with friends, some with projects I'm excited about. But I think there's still room for new adventures. How about you? Where would I have to fit in if I wanted to steal a coffee with you? Why this works: you slip flirtation into a practical question. Instead of just reporting your schedule, you frame it as flexible and open to her. The pivot, turning conversation deeper. After sharing your own balanced, vibrant answer, flip the spotlight. What about you? What's the rhythm of your week these days? Do you like keeping busy, or do you enjoy more open space? This is brilliant because you're not just swapping facts, you're inviting her to reveal her values. Some women will say, "I love being busy, keeps me sharp." Others will say, "I like calm, relaxed days." Both answers give you insight into how to connect with her on her wavelength. Signals she's flirting with this question. She doesn't just nod at your answer, she smiles and asks for more details. "Oh, what kind of mentoring do you do?" Or, "Where do your kids live?" She teases lightly, "Sounds like you've got a full dance card, would you even have time for me?" She shifts into "we" language, "Wouldn't it be nice to plan a weekend trip around that schedule?" She reveals vulnerability about her own family or routine, opening the door for intimacy. The psychology behind the test. Older women especially are scanning for patterns. Many have carried heavy roles in past relationships: caregiver, scheduler, emotional manager. At this stage of life, they want something healthier. By asking about family and your weekly life, she's checking. Does he know how to give and receive love in balance? Is his life so empty that I'll be expected to fill every gap? Does he have roots and responsibilities that keep him stable? Would our lives flow together easily, or would I be carrying him? Answering with warmth, balance, and playfulness tells her, "You're not a burden, you're an asset."